Smorgasbord Radio Show.
Hey, this is pretty good. I like doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. This is what you will be doing when you finish listening to Chris and Dave every Saturday night at 8. Just giving you fair warning.
Wow.
Let's keep doing this. This is great.
Come on, do it with us.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Smorgasbord Radio Show, the SmorgShow podcast. And I'm Chris. This is episode 124, recorded June 5, 2021. That's gotta hurt.
Oh.
Hey.
Woo. Man, those steps.
Who are you?
They get you every time.
It's Dave Jackson in the studio again. How you doing, Dave?
Hello there.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Chris and Dave Smorgasbord again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So
6 months?
it's been, I think January.
More.
We're out here January.
Yeah.
It's
It's great to be back in the old man cave. It doesn't smell like a bunch of men
No, it
in
doesn't.
a locker room anymore. It smells a lot better.
I got the cinnamon chai and a smoke, some kind of a smoke. What's it called? Wood smoke.
Yeah. I like it.
Combination. It's a good combination. So I dug up the old Om meditation audio clip that you and I did in high school, and I had no idea what Om meditation was when you did that. You were ahead of,
No, I didn't either, really.
you were ahead of our time.
I didn't
for
really know
16-year-olds. So I'm starting the show off with a little bit of Om meditation because we need to take it down a few notches. The last 3 episodes, Dave, have just been out of control.
Yeah, from what you played for me, it's been pretty intense. Sometimes it's got to be, though.
So Jerry's been out here, and Jerry has been living up to his title of Chief Conspiracy Correspondent, CCC. He's been taking it very seriously. And the last episode just came to a head. I think things were just boiling, and the cork just popped. And it took the show in a direction that I think we've avoided over the years, because we like to have an escape for people who are tired of being surrounded by it 24/7.
Which I think this show has always lived up to that.
I think so.
But sometimes if you don't talk about things, then there's an elephant in the room. Or what's the expression? Pink elephant?
Pink elephant in the room?
Yeah. I mean, you have to address, sometimes you just have to talk about stuff.
Oh, I guess that's
Meditation's over.
Meditation is over.
Back to real life.
And I am going to...
Heart rate up.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Pulse up.
It's a loop. Okay.
Okay.
I think we're done with it. I just wanted to, underscore a point. So I'm going to move over to Studio B here.
Yeah. So Studio B actually has no partition. It's basically like you turn around and in one hop, you're in a different chair and you're in a different studio.
All right. So I'm in Studio B now. Wasn't much of a commute.
And I can see you now. We can speak face to face.
That's right.
Which is the advantage of having a Studio B.
That's right. I set this up so that we were able to look at each other, because I think for the first 100 episodes or something, we always had to sit side by side and we couldn't really look at each other, and it was weird. I was looking at the computer screen. It's good to see a face.
But you learn too that when you learn your microphone technique in the early days, you learn that you can shift your head. I mean, a guest usually won't know how to do this. They'll just turn their face away from the mic and look toward the person interviewing them, but now all of a sudden they're off mic. You can't hear them anymore.
Like,
so you kind of learn how to turn your head, but continue to keep your mouth directly into the mic.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't expect a guest to know that.
No. It's only the true professionals.
Right.
Those in the business.
And for
tricks.
us, that's unconscious now for us.
We know the technique. 40 years in the biz. So, welcome back to the studio, Dave. It's great to see you. What has been going on with you since we saw you? Anything?
Just keeping things afloat. I lost quite a bit of work hours because we lost quite a bit of clients where I work.
Oh, man.
Because people just weren't getting together. They didn't need video shoots anymore.
Sure.
So we, lost a lot there, but we found ways to keep everything going.
Have things been starting to climb back?
I'm like the only employee left. Everybody else is gone because they figured, I'm not going to be able to make any money here, or they just moved on for whatever reasons as soon as everything changed.
You hung in there.
That dark March day.
Yeah.
That Monday.
So are you getting all the business now?
So now I'm
projects.
So all the work comes to me now. So that kind of actually helped me.
That's steady work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But we lost a lot of stuff, but we're still afloat. So
that's good.
It's not my business. I'm just saying I'm a contractor, so that it's been keeping me somewhat busy, which is good, but way less than before. Way less.
Yeah. For me, we are approaching Allie's wedding in 3 months from today, actually.
Boy, that's hard to believe. Forget about you. You're her dad, but from my perspective, I can't believe how much time has gone by since I first met Allie. I can't believe it.
I remember you meeting her the first time.
I can't believe it.
It's quite
it's got to be
hard concept to imagine.
1,000 times worse for you.
So I've got something here I want to talk about here shortly. In fact, we probably could get into it now. I'm really fretting over the father of the bride's speech. So I have to write one.
Yeah.
And I was watching the old Steve Martin classic, Father of the Bride.
Right. That's a pretty funny movie. Yeah.
And now I'm watching through a different lens than I ever did before when I used to see it. And in fact, Kim, Allie, and I and her fiance, Allie's fiance, we were all sitting around watching it. And I'm watching this and I'm getting the jokes on a different level. I was the only one in that room watching it that could relate to really relate to some of the stuff that's going on.
I'm not paying for the swans.
That's right. The line that really stood out to me was, my whole life, while she was growing up, I prayed that she was going to meet the right person because, they're dating and they're meeting all these losers.
Of course.
But then I reached to a point where I didn't want her to meet the right person because that meant,
right.
Yeah, her flying the coop forever. So that's kind of where I am right now. So the wedding is in 3 months. She is doing it. It's sort of a farmhouse kind of wedding. It's at a barn. It's at a farm. Yeah, live at the barn. We'll have stables. We'll have horses. I've kind of stayed out of a lot of the planning, although I am kind of aware of the details. They just need to tell me when I have to write the check. And I've been making the payments.
Yeah, they'll call you when they need you.
Yeah. So I feel included in that
way.
Hey,
we could be the entertainment. You could save money on that. We could just do a podcast. That'll be the entertainment.
Oh, sure, yeah.
For the wedding.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, I'm sure she would like that. We'll just set up our own little booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got something here.
You going to practice?
The speech?
Yeah.
No, I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm in the research phase.
Okay.
So bear with me while I get my notes.
Chris is shuffling papers right now in Studio B.
So there are some rules. So I don't know what to include because I could talk forever. But there's some rules around, some guidelines, let's say. And there are companies that you can hire that will write your speeches for you.
Oh, no.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to outsource your emotion. It's like, just tell me what I should say.
Oh.
It kind of reminded of two things. You and I went through speech class together back in the 80s.
Yes.
That was funny. And
yeah, I did how to change a guitar string. That was one of my speeches.
Right. I did
remember that.
Yeah. I did how to make bruschetta, and
Pete did
well
how to avoid.
Well, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold your
All
thought
right.
about
All
Pete.
right,
Let
I
me
won't.
finish my thought.
Yeah.
Mine was I had all the ingredients. I was working at Toys R Us at the time, and I had to bring all of my ingredients to show how to make this dish. And the class was in the evening, but I had to work all day at Toys R Us. So I thought, okay, I have all the tomatoes, I've got all the ingredients, and all the refrigerated ingredients I was able to bring inside and leave it into the company fridge or the store fridge. But I left the big roll of Italian bread in the car all day. Oh. And I don't know, it didn't really bake. It just became a solid club. And I'm up there in front of the class, and it was a demonstration speech, because remember, you had to do a persuasion speech.
Yeah, right. You had to.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
demonstration. And I get to the point of how to slice the bread, and I have the big knife, and, and it's not cutting the bread. It's just, it's solid. And I just remember having to break this thing over the desk, and it broke into like 20 pieces and went all over the class, made everybody laugh. And I actually got a good grade because I was able to handle this, the moment, and not get tripped up.
You rolled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Pete. He had a couple. He had how to iron a shirt, and he forgot to plug the iron in. So halfway through the speech, he's not getting the wrinkles out because the cord is just dangling behind the ironing board. What was the other one? How to...
well, so he did something about nuclear war, and the teacher really...
Oh, yeah.
was taken aback by that, because how can you take a subject like that lightly?
Right. So, and back to my earlier point, we did a speech class together, and we also went through voice acting class. That's 10 years already now. So you and I have been through a lot. So now I feel it's appropriate for you and me to kind of talk about writing this father of the groom speech, a father of the bride speech.
Okay.
So just some tips that I didn't know about. Plan to last between 7 and 10 minutes. This is around 1,000 words, so keep it snappy and don't go into details unless necessary. Speak on behalf of you and your wife during the speech. Nothing destroys the harmonious image of married bliss like a father-in-law who forgets his other half exists. So I got to make sure I include something there about Kim. If you have to make in-jokes, at least give them a little bit of context, but avoid anecdotes that drone on and on. If it's the kind of story where you had to be there, it doesn't belong here. Yeah, you know me about my inside jokes. I'll just have to control myself.
Right, yeah. Well, you can test it out on us, and we'll let you know if it's too inside.
Yeah. An entirely sentimental speech is going to win you brownie points from the wife and the daughter, but prepare for some ribbing from the boys at the bar. That would be you and Jerry.
The boys at
the boys at the bar.
All right.
Balance it out with some sharp one-liners from our collection. So here it is. They're trying to advertise their services. Should I subscribe?
It's a joke writing service?
Yeah. They want me to buy their sharp one-liners. I'm almost curious to know what they are.
Yeah. Chris, it's a good speech, but it needs a little punching up.
Yeah.
You need a little pizzazz.
Pizzazz.
Which we can provide at a nominal cost.
I know your memory is not what it used to be, but if you can remember the entire lineup from United's last FA Cup win, I can't. This is British. You can tell right now. Manchester United.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Soccer.
Right. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah. If you can remember those details, then you can at least remember the first couple of paragraphs and then read the rest. Okay, so I get up there and I just have to remember the first, and then I can read off of a card, or at least an outline. That's usually my style.
Yeah, outline.
Because
if it isn't partly ad lib, it just never sounds natural, really.
Yeah. Pace your speech properly using our templates and pace yourself during the delivery. Don't read it like a racing commentator. Remember to leave pauses for laughs, because I'm going to get a lot of laughs and reactions. Don't dwell too long, though, as people will think you've had a stroke. Just stand up there. That's what I fear. I'm just going to stand up there, not because I'm paralyzed with fear for speaking, because that won't be it. It'll just be, I can't believe this day has happened. Try to infuse your anecdotes with a bit of character by projecting your voice in a confident and assertive manner.
Well, Jerry and I can stand behind you, and if we start to see your knees locking, or if you're going down, we can just prop you up, hold you up, so that you can finish.
All right, I'll have to make sure Allie puts you guys close table to...
We'll look like bodyguards, but we're really there to keep you from hitting the floor.
Okay. We'll get you shades.
Yeah.
Like Secret Service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping an eye out for me, but
Right.
not really looking at me.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody is saying put an amdram performance. That's amateur drama.
Oh, all right.
I had to look that one up. Amdram performance, but at least give it some welly.
Welly?
This is definitely British. I don't know what welly means. Remember to thank everybody who's been involved in the day, including friends, family, the little brats running around, and perhaps yourself. Don't just drone on like Gwyneth Paltrow accepting an Oscar. Definitely not. If you've gone for some risque jokes, then run the piece by your wife. Otherwise, you may as well double book the church for a funeral the day after. Well, we won't be at a church for this. Try and include both the bride and the groom in your thoughts, as otherwise you're losing half the room. That's a good point. If your daughter's marrying an absolute arse, then consider making thinly veiled threats using the guise of humor.
Just polish your revolver while you're giving the speech, or be loading it or something.
And finally, leave them wanting more, not less. Brief snippets of wisdom and mirth work best in a speech like this. Plus, you don't want to use up all of your good stories in one day. So then I have another piece here about gaffes to avoid. 10 common wedding speech gaffes.
All right.
Number 1, name mispronunciation. Make sure that anybody, you call you want to make sure you pronounce their names right. I can understand that.
Yep.
Number 2, X talk. This should be obvious to all, but unfortunately it happens far too frequently. Stay away from bringing up the X's, no matter how entertaining it could be. I don't know how that would even fit in.
Whose exes? Yours or?
Ex-girlfriends, ex-husbands. So I guess if she's maybe getting married again.
Oh.
Possibly. I'm assuming talking about
Yeah.
my daughter's exes, not my own.
Yeah, I hope this guy's better than that last weasel.
I don't have to worry about at least that. All exes are off limits for the conversation. Ridicule, jokes, anecdotes, and everything else that you might be able to say in your speech. No one wants to listen to past loves or have them brought up, especially on their wedding day. Yeah, definitely hurts.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Private stories. Number 3. Some stories are private and kept secret for a reason. Keep those memories under lock and key. No significant revelations need to be shared about what happened on New Year's Eve 10 years ago. If it's been sworn to secrecy, keep it a secret. Number 4. Oh, this is contradictory to...
Or in other words, what happens on Facebook stays on Facebook.
Yes. Over 5 minutes. Okay, so the last advice said between 7 and 10. This says don't go over 5. Because children and the like will get bored and they'll start running around. I need to captivate the audience, keep them in.
Right, which is no small thing.
Number 5, too many drinks. Don't go for that second or third glass of wine or shots until your speech is over. No one wants a sloppy toast giver. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So you're the only one that will think it was a great speech.
Yeah, That was smooth.
At that point. Wasn't that great?
Number 6, ego boosting. This toast isn't about you, so don't use it to talk only about yourself. You may be the one who helped plan the wedding or introduced the newlyweds, but this moment still isn't about you, and you certainly don't need to spend the majority of the speech talking about those facts either. Keep the focus on the happy couple. Share stories and nice words. Encourage future thoughts. Leave the ego boosting at the door. Tip: after you write your speech, go back and count how many times you use the word I.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 7, no 4-letter words. Keep the speech clean. An accidental F-bomb may be funny in theory, but it could easily come off tasteless. Number 8, inappropriate or embarrassing jokes. It's always fun to jab or poke a finger or two at the groom. But be sure not to go too far and outright embarrass him, or the bride for that matter. Jokes are needed. A giggle for the guests can help get the party started, but when the jokes are humiliating, it can leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and that's no fun for anyone. Number 9, reading lines. We're big advocates for preparation. Oh, this is another service. And we're big advocates for writing speeches down, practicing, and holding on to that outline in case a hefty dose of nerves strikes you and you go blank once the mic is handed to you. But try your hardest to look up from the paper. Don't read lines from the cocktail napkin. Well, that would imply that I wrote it right there on the spot.
Yeah, it would.
I won't be writing on a cocktail napkin. I'll have the index cards, the 5x7s.
Right.
And finally, so practicing your speech will help you here. Too many ums, or so's can hurt the success of your speech or toast. People will get distracted by all the extra noise throughout your sentiment.
Now, does that company offer to write the speech for you too, or is that just the first one?
Looks like there's 2 different services I have here. I don't know. I'm just not going to do that.
Nah. I can't imagine anybody, like you say, could you write down my feelings?
And really quickly, just to close this segment out, there's another segment here. I won't go into too much of details, but it actually talks about the approach of like what I should be doing now. So now that I know those 2 do's and don'ts, this is more like how to write it.
Now this will get interesting.
Yeah, 7 easy steps. First, start your father of the bride speech with a few thank yous. So I have to include the people who've come in from out of town. Number 2, mention any loved ones who you're remembering. So if there's any family members who aren't physically present at the wedding, I'm thinking of your mom, who would have absolutely loved to be here. Number 3, share any special memories of your child. So that's going to be one I'll have to really think about. Think about the ones that are truly gems that I think would be appropriate for everybody to hear. Talk about your new in-law. Your daughter is the light of your life, but you also have a new child in your life now. It would be nice to address her partner directly.
Okay, yeah.
Use your father of the bride's speech to reminisce about the time when you first met him or her. If you're particularly close with your daughter, maybe she called you after their first date. What were you thinking? Has there been a time you were particularly glad to have them around? This could be sentimental or funny, but it should be genuine regardless of your true feelings. Let's see. Number 5, give some advice to your father of the bride speech. Some advice.
So that would be, yeah.
So if you're older,
that would be tough.
Yeah, I know. If you're older and wiser, I'm definitely older. And if it makes sense to you, give the new couple a piece of advice towards happy marriage, or just happiness in general.
Like when you have a disagreement, argue fairly, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Right? Something like that. Don't change the topic.
Yeah.
Keep it on point.
Right.
No name calling.
Number 6, use a quote, but don't force it. This won't necessarily work for all Father of the Bride speeches, but if it feels natural to work a quote that particularly speaks to you in your toast, you shouldn't feel you should have to shy away from it. It could be a sweet way to end your speech. It doesn't have to be a profound quote. Don't just use a quote for the sake of using one, but if it's appropriate, if there's one that you specifically had a bond over with your daughter, like maybe something from The Simpsons, I don't know, I have to think about that one. And then finally end with a toast. All right. So I've got the framework. I've got 3 months to get this in order. I don't think I want to air it here because, I want it to be a surprise.
You want it to be fresh.
Yeah. I want to make it fresh, and I guess whenever episode we have after the wedding, I'll play it here. And we can critique it against these and see if I've checked the boxes.
We'll see if it if it fit.
Yeah.
Great.
So
are you dreading it, or are you just kind of looking forward to it, or you're not thinking about it?
The wedding or the
right
speech?
Now? The speech.
I haven't really thought about it too much. But now that I'm 3 months out, it's starting to get more real.
Yeah. Once you know you have to do it now, certain things may occur to you. Maybe keep a notebook handy. Jot down certain things.
Yeah.
As they occur to you.
Yeah, it's like when I had to do
I want to mention that.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of what I do with my dad's eulogy. I had a lot less time to do that one. But I just came down to the studio one day and I just started to write memories and things that I wanted to include and then kind of put it in kind of a structure afterwards. I'll probably do the same thing here. Like you said, just jot down ideas, things that I want to include, but then work on the flow, the structure as phase 2.
Have you written a lot of speeches?
Yeah.
One time I was asked to give a eulogy, but I had very little preparation time. It was just kind of thrown my way. And hey, like the day of, would you mind, going up there and whoa, that was tough. So all I could think of to do was to go write for a personal memory.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Those spontaneous speeches I've kind of tried to shy away from. I don't like those when I have to be put on the spot to give a speech or a toast or something. I'd like to have some prep time.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that's all I had for this segment. We are going to go into a new segment here, and we are going to be back shortly. This is the Chris and Dave SmorgShow.
GCFM giving away $1. If you call us up when we play David Gilmour and Rolling Stones back-to-back, you win $1 from the big one, DGCFM. Huh.
Hello, everybody. This is Baba Ganesh coming to you live once again from my Dropbox. I have taken a break from my investigative journalism role on the show because we are approaching very quickly Ali's wedding in 3 months. And I am afraid Baba will not be able to make it back to the States because of this lockdown. So I have been very thinking forward to the big day, and I have been thinking about how can I contribute to the show as we approach the wedding day. So, Baba is going back into his box of customs and traditions, and I will be sharing through a series over the course of the summer Hindu wedding traditions. In this first installment, we are going to be talking about a subject that has come to me many times over the feedback email system. They say, Baba, please tell us all about the arranged marriage that you have in India because it's a strange concept. So I am finally getting around to dedicating an episode for this subject. In week number 2, we're going to talk about wedding customs. And finally, as we get very close to the day in September, we'll talk about the wedding vows. So, today, let's talk about the arranged marriage. So, in India, arranged marriages still remain the majority and the preferred way for Indians to enter into matrimony. This is the custom where the parents or other relatives decide on a life partner that they deem suitable for their child. They keep in mind various factors, different for boys and girls, while searching for a suitable match to attach their names with. It is a tradition that Indians find hard to part with. Even in the 21st century, around 85% of Indians prefer to marry the boy or girl chosen by their families rather than choosing their life partners themselves. So, let's talk about the process. Arranged marriages in India are a long, drawn-out process where finalizing the perfect match may take months or even years. In typical arranged marriages, the parents decide every facet of the process, and the prospective bride and groom just show up at the prearranged date of marriage. The parents get the word out that they are looking for a match for their child through their social circle, which includes their neighbors and relatives. They might also even employ the services of a local matchmaker. Yes. Traditionally, the matchmaker is an individual who keeps a database of marriageable individuals from the neighboring area. Once a match is established, the elders of the family first meet at a neutral place to talk and also to figure out the suitability of the match firsthand. In these meetings, the families try to judge the financial and cultural barometer of each other through direct or indirect talks. The criteria for a suitable match. It is determined after taking several things into account, including, and the first is the most important of the all, religion. This tops the criteria. The boy and the girl going for an arranged marriage must belong to the same religion. Hindus will marry Hindus, while Muslims will look for a match within the Muslim community, and Christian families will prefer their children getting married to a Christian. Second would be caste. We talked about this on a previous installment of Baba Ganesh. The caste is a very important criterion on the list. Hindu religion is divided and subdivided into several castes, which are again branched into several subcastes. While seeking a match, the parents prefer to choose a candidate belonging to the same or compatible caste and subcaste. Next is culture. The cultural background of the two families is taken into consideration while fixing a match. Orthodox families do not prefer to initiate alliances with families who seem permissive and open-minded, and vice versa. Educational background of families is also seen to impact a marriage match. Their moral backgrounds are also scrutinized while considering a match. Next is horoscope. Horoscope matching is an indispensable part of the arranged marriage process and is generally the cinching criteria for finalizing the talks. Horoscope refers to the birth chart or a natal chart of an individual based on the positions of astrological luminaries like the sun, the moon, the planets, and other stars at the time of the individual's marriage. It generally holds important life predictions as well as describes the individual's character based on the positions of astrological bodies in specific positions. Next, professional stature. This criterion is almost exclusively considered by the girl's side while looking for a match. The prospective groom needs to have a stable job or business and earn enough money so he can comfortably support his future family. The higher the professional stature of the boy, the more in demand he enjoys in the marriage field. And last but not the least, physical appearance. This is the prime criterion of suitability for a girl when being considered for marriage. The color of the skin still plays one of the most important deciding factors when it comes to arranged marriage, and fair-skinned girls are always preferred over wheatish or dark-skinned girls. height, weight, and other physical aspects are also scrutinized. While the physical appearance of the boy is important to some extent, not much stress is placed on the concept as long as he is not suffering from any serious problem. We will not talk about those problems here. Apart from physical appearance, the girl is also judged based upon her efficiency in domestic chores such as cooking, stitching, and cleaning. So, once all of this has been determined, meeting between the families and prospective spouses now can commence. So this is after the horoscopes have been matched and the priest has given his blessing to go ahead owning the predetermined compatibility of the birth charts. The groom's family visits the bride family to see the bride and finalize the marriage. Elders of both the families are seated and the bride-to-be is brought in properly decked up in fine clothes and jewelry. The bride is seated in the middle of the room and is scrutinized by the boy's family members, often interviewed to judge her domestic knowledge. The groom may or may not accompany the elders in this first visit. If he is, the bride and the groom may be allowed to converse or even meet in private, although such meetings will be heavily chaperoned. If the groom's family considers the girl suitable for their son, they will intimate the girl's family through the matchmaker. Sometimes there are investigations around the neighborhood to absolutely determine suitability of the match. If all goes well, the marriage talks proceed, solidify, and move towards formalization of the match. And then we move on to the final stage, which is the engagement. This marks the formalization of the marriage match. This happens only after both the parties have agreed that this is the best match possible for their child from all aspects. Depending on the ethnicity and customs of the two families, a date is fixed where the formal announcement of the match and impending wedding is to happen. There might or may not be a formal ring exchange, but usually the date of marriage is fixed on that day, and usually a priest is consulted. So that is the end of this installment of Baba Wedding, and we will be back next time when we will talk more about wedding customs in India. This is Baba Ganesh coming to you live in lockdown day 426.
You're listening to the SmorgShow podcast.
So, we are out of the studio now. We're finally able to get out and go to public places a little bit more now. So we are in a coffee shop, Dave.
Yeah, what's the name of this coffee shop?
It's just called the Coffee Shop.
I think that's yours they're making right there.
I think it is mine. Oh, super. I love it frothy. So,
don't forget to use the skim milk, please. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Just a second here. So with Jerry out here, we usually dip into the whiskey. So that's been a thing since, I think, October. So I'm happy to switch off to the brews now with you.
Yeah. And don't let me stop you.
No, the
Like
coffee's
little-
good. I should have.
Little nip.
Oh, that's fantastic. So this is our Chris and Dave coffee segment of just some random chat. I do have a couple of topics. First, I want to big announcement here. A few episodes ago, I showed this to Jerry because Philip Donald, as you know, is making his sophomore album. And he has his new album cover. It is now officially allowed to be released.
Oh, they allowed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can show it to you, and
All
you can
right.
get your reaction in real time here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to see what the Donald is, the Philip is up to. Boy, that is one. That is one naked man from the back, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? He's very proud of that. He's taken some weight off, and he decided to just.
Oh, is that what?
That's
He
confidence.
lost some weight.
He did lose some weight because he had the COVID pounds, and now he is. Yeah.
His incarceration is now behind him. So.
Oh yeah. So
yeah. So he's recording again.
Yes. So yeah.
Did he write these songs while he was?
Yeah. In prison?
Yeah, behind bars, or was he?
Well, he was out, and of course, the title track we released a couple of years back when he got out, called "Break Loose," and the album is called "Break Loose: Songs for a COVID World." And it turns out it's a concept album, and I can tell you the names of the songs today. Here's the back of the album.
Okay.
Okay, so so it starts off with "Break Loose." The second track is "Isolated Again." So you can imagine now he's
There's
back because of
theme there. Yeah.
he's out of prison.
Right.
He's feeling good. He's loose. But now we all shut down. So isolated again. Number 3, track 3 is "I Can't Breathe."
Okay.
Could be a little political there. Track 4 is "Mask Me Up."
All right.
Number 5 is "That Cough." Number 6, 6 Feet Wide. Number 7, "No Visitors." Number 7 is actually going to be the next song that will be released, and we're expecting this to be available for the next episode. It's called "Uber Friend."
All right.
So I would imagine, you're stuck at home, you can at least get your food delivery. And over time, if you order enough, you start to know the the driver. So I guess he's maybe made a friend.
It'd be nice to get him in studio.
It'd be
instead of
nice.
over the phone.
Yeah. It's
Or you could get him maybe in patio or something.
in the patio.
Outside.
And we could pipe in a
in.
feed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Studio's a little full now. Track, I don't know what number we're in. Next track is "No Touch." Next track is "Back Up." And then last track is "Loose Again." So I'm really looking forward to it. And the back of the album is these prison bars that have been just expanded.
Yeah.
Like somebody broke loose.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really looking
Oh,
forward
great.
to it.
Yeah. Want to hear more from Philip.
Yeah, it's been a while. So there's that. I think they're making you one now.
Yeah, it feels good to just be out having a cup of Joe, doesn't it? Once again.
I found this article about what does your coffee reveal about you. So depending on the kind of coffee you prefer.
The kind of coffee. All right.
Yeah.
All right. This should be good.
So what would you say you are? Do you think you're a black coffee kind of guy, or
No.
no? You're not black coffee.
No.
No.
No. Little cream in there. No sugar.
Well, let's see. I don't know what category
what
it's
does
going to
that
fall in. I fall more into. I don't know.
I think they're using a forklift.
I think they're trying to get Philip in here. I am into flavored coffees. I like flavored. I like put a little bit of skim milk and sugar. So I don't know what category that puts me in. But let's go over the main. There's four main categories. Black coffee.
All right. Which I used. That's how I started.
Yeah. Well, that personality traits. That means
But then the stomach can't.
It is pretty harsh.
I had to change that.
Yeah. Old school purist. Some of the lighter side of your personality is those kinds of people like to keep things simple. They're patient. They're efficient. However, the dark side, you could be quite quiet and moody, abrupt and dismissive.
Is this like a Harvard study or?
Yes.
It is.
Well, I don't know if it's Harvard. Clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasala recently conducted an observational study of 1,000 coffee drinkers. The survey assessed numerous common personality styles and psychological traits, including introversion and easy for you to say, extroversion, patience, perfectionism, warmth, vigilance, sensitivity, social boldness. So back to black coffee, the dark side, abrupt, dismissive, set in your ways, resistant to making change. So you said you're not into black coffee. No, neither am I. Here are the latte drinkers, or folks who would add cream and sugar to their coffee. So we're probably somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Our traits would then include comfort seekers, people pleasers, open book. You know, you get what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Like to soften the bitterness of life. Just like they like to soften the bitterness of their coffee.
That's what I usually write down, actually, when you're asked to describe yourself, and or what are some of your favorite traits that you like about yourself. That's what I say. I like to soften the bitterness of life. I usually write that.
Mm-hmm. You do?
Yeah.
So this might be right on. So the light side of the personality, generous with time, will go out of their way for others. Dark side can get overextended.
I thought that was the dark side. Oh, those were the good things.
Those are the good things.
Oh, those are the good things.
Yeah.
All right.
You can get overextended. Don't always take great care of themselves. Probably because we're putting sugar in there. I don't know. The next category of coffee is frozen and blended coffee drinks. So, I mean...
No way, blended. Is that, what is that referring to? Is that like the Keurig kind of, what they mean by that? Or is that...
No, I think it's like when you start to mix...
blended?
I don't know. Blended, like you put them in a blender because you're going to... Well, if it's frozen, you get the ice. But you might have some other ingredients that you put in there that might make it coffee flavored, but it might be
I see.
I don't know, a shake or something. I don't know. I'm not really into the big frozen coffee drinks anymore. There's so much sugar.
Oh, it's crazy how much sugar is in there.
Like to try new things, socially bold, trendsetters. On the light side, they're childlike, spontaneous, imaginative. On the dark side, these people fall for quick fixes and don't always make healthy choices, can be reckless.
All right.
Then there's the decaf folks, which technically I kind of fall into that bucket.
Oh, yeah, I do that sometimes.
Because I can't really have more than one caffeinated beverage anymore, because then I get kind of racy, and I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, I definitely have cut way back on the caffeine, or will occasionally go decaf.
Yeah.
There's no hope for us, is there?
No. Well, there's a decaf / soy milk / very specifically ordered coffee. So these are those people that go in there holding up the line.
Isn't that annoying? It's so annoying.
The cafe caramel macchiato with skim milk and soy milk. And they like being in control. Maybe
somehow that fits.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It does.
All right, follow my instructions exactly. And I'm not going to make it easy.
I said almond milk. They may be labeled selfish, obsessive, perfectionist, very aware of their health and bodies.
Okay.
I suspect Philip might be in this category.
Somehow that one kind of fits.
The light side, they monitor their health. Mm-hmm. tend to make healthy choices? I don't
The
know.
people that continue jogging and keep their jogging pace going while they're ordering.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Jogging in place.
Jogging in place. Thank you.
Yeah.
The much simpler way to say it.
Dark side, over-focus on rules, control, and order. Overly sensitive, tend to be worriers. And then finally, the instant coffee.
Okay,
folks.
now I used to
Yeah?
do the instant, but then again, it just became too harsh. College days, make an instant,
Oh, yeah.
bring it back to your desk, study. Or, or watch The Lonely Guy,
Oh, yeah.
for the 100th time with a cup of instant.
Traditional in some ways, laid back, but they procrastinate. On the light side, they take life as it comes and they don't get lost in details. However, on the dark side, they may be a little too laid back. They put things off and may neglect basic health issues, and they're poor planners. Probably because they're, hey, oh man,
I want a coffee now. I'm not going to bother to prepare it. I just want it now.
So I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you wanted to talk a little bit about
Oh, yeah.
things going on with.
I've always wanted to have a guitar amplifier that was made with tubes. Usually you have two types. There's one that's a solid state, uses transistors, and then there's the tube type. And a lot of people, maybe most people, would say that they prefer the sound of a tube amplifier. Most of the time people will say they're warmer, a warmer sound. And probably a lot of the sounds that we like from our favorite records were made with tube amplifiers. I have a solid state, which I've had since high school. I bought it off a friend in high school, and I used that for many years. But I always wanted a tube amplifier. So I finally got one with my tax refund. I just said, you know what? I'm getting one. I've always wanted one.
Cool.
I mean, if I'm not going to do it now, when am I? I'm 56.
Yeah.
I want it, even though I'm not a professional, I want to get one. I want a tube amplifier. So
Yeah.
I finally got one. I won't go into the company names here because I've been doing a ton of research, not only on types of amps, but actually how they work. I'm trying to learn what a tube is, what they do, what are the parts to a tube. You see a bunch of tubes inside the amplifier. What do they do? What are they for? So there are output tubes, and there's preamp tubes, and then there's one called a phase inverter, all these different types of tubes. So I'm trying to learn all this stuff, right? And it's fun. I'm really enjoying it because I don't have an electronics background. So I'm learning about things that I've never really delved into before. We've all heard terms like capacitor,
Right.
resistor, cathodes, triodes. I don't
Transformer.
know what they do really. I mean, I had a little idea about what capacitors were. So anyway, so I'm learning this stuff. And as part of my exploration into tube amplifiers, I'm learning that the amplifiers that are coming out of factories today, it's probably not a shock when I say they're poorly made, because almost everything made today is poorly made.
Yeah.
I mean, that's coming from my opinion, but
I agree.
why is it that my grandmother had a freezer that lasted her whole life, and then we've had to go through a couple of refrigerators in the last 10 years. So
Yeah. Appliances just don't last.
So I've been doing this research, and the companies are using cheaper and cheaper parts. They're putting in capacitors that leak, maybe not immediately, but they start to leak. And then you get not only just noises, hum, static. You want your amp to be quiet when you're not using it. When it's on, you just want it to sit there and be quiet.
Right.
Yeah. And they're noisy, and then when the capacitors leak, I'm learning that it can fry out the PCB, the printed circuit board. They do it all that way now in the factories, and everything used to be hand wired at one time, and it was beautiful. But now You can still get that. People still make them that way, but not if you're going through a big company. You won't get that. You have to go to a certain person that makes them, and they're out there. And there's a lot of great.
Look for them.
Yeah, there's great stuff out there. So, what I'm learning is that these parts, it's not only that the parts are cheap, but they're dangerous. They're fire hazards because they take wires that get really, really hot and they bundle them up with other wires that they shouldn't be bundled with, and then they're all soldered together to the same place. So you have a really high risk of your board frying out.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do?
Right.
Replace practically the whole thing. So it's at the point where I think the companies know this, where they're going to sell you an amp that's way subpar, but they don't care because they know you're going to buy it because you want it. Mm-hmm. But then you're going to have to spend another few $100 or so getting it modified so that it's safe, number one. And you're probably going to want to maybe even change a speaker because they're not going to give you a quality speaker either. Yeah. So you have to do all this work to it after you buy it. But I think these companies are relying on their past good name because they used to make incredibly quality products.
Yeah.
And now they're relying on that good name, but they're not giving you a product that you can have faith in.
I used to be that way. I was brand loyal to Sony for many years, through the whole Walkman days.
Sure.
And then something happened along the way. I just wasn't satisfied anymore with the quality. It just felt poorly made.
Yeah. So they find ways they use cheaper electronic parts. Like I said, they put capacitors in there that leak, and these really dangers of fire. These things can catch on fire.
Wow.
So you just have to be really careful. And I wouldn't have known any of this before, but since I've been doing this research, I found some people that really do explain these things inside and out. And I'm finding that if you just really sit down and study and pay attention, you can actually follow most of it. Even if you don't have an electronics background, it just requires you to spend some time with it.
It's fun tapping into a new subject that you never really got into before. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Because if you had given me instructions how to build a toaster, I would go, oh, well, okay. But if you say, hey, here's how an amplifier works, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
And then you're going to learn some of the same things.
Right.
But in a context
something that
excites you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to lately with that. So next week, I'm going to bring this amplifier in, and I have a list of things that I want them to look at and tell them what my concerns are with the fire hazards and all that. And
sorry if I missed this. Where did you actually buy this? Did you actually go to a shop, or did you order it online?
We were talking about this briefly before we went to record today. Was that a lot of companies that they've stopped production on a lot of things. We were talking about bicycles. Same thing with guitar amplifiers. They just haven't been making them. So I finally found a place that was able to track one of these down that existed before everything shut down. They found one in, I think it was Cincinnati.
Okay.
So they sent
You found them online?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did they ship it to you?
They shipped it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if you want to order a new one, you're going to have to wait. But then I was thinking I'd rather have one from before, because in just a few short years, they probably are making them even worse now than they were 3-5 years ago.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, we were talking about the bicycles earlier. We were looking for new bikes last weekend, 2 weeks ago, and we went into the local cyclery. There are no bikes in there. I said, we're in the market for a new bike. And he's like, you and many other people, there are no bikes. You can't find them. I was like, get out of here. I went to Walmart. No bikes. The guy said that they're just on backlog. Some factories shut down, and plus the demand of people getting back outside again. Just sick of being home, buying bikes. And there's a shortage. So we ended up getting them we just got the tune-ups instead of actually getting new bikes, which in the long run will probably be all right, because I don't know, these bikes have lasted us about 20 years already, 25 years. And I don't know, buying new bikes at this age, how many more years am I going to get out of them? I mean, that's probably a defeatist attitude.
Yeah, but there are different types of bikes, right? You got the mountain bike.
Yeah, we had mountain bikes. Yeah.
Mountain bike, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember that at one point that was really trendy when I was living in the city. Just everybody had the mountain bike style
Right.
of bike, even though there's no mountains that I can see.
I know. That was the biggest thing. That's when I got mine. I was living in the city. I got to have a mountain bike. I'm riding up
Yeah.
Lakeshore Drive.
Right. But there are other, the last bike I had was called a 10-speed.
10-speed, yeah.
Yeah. Which I still have. But, and doesn't work, would need to be. I don't even know if anybody could even work on one of those anymore.
Well, I've got a
Quite
10-speed.
frankly, I don't know.
We got a 10-speed.
You have one?
Yeah, the mountain bikes are 10-speed.
Oh, they are? Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, those classic 10-speeds.
But then they have cruise, like different kind of cruising
Yeah.
kind of bike too, or
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this local cycler, they do it all there. This guy says, we're backed up. We're 3 weeks to get your bike tuned up. It's like they're all, because people are just getting them repaired. They have no choices.
Yeah.
So.
It's the same thing with just going back to the amplifiers for a second. It's the same thing that now that more people are out and about, more musicians are going back to work too. So there's this big backlog of people wanting to get their amps tuned up and ready to go, and so that musicians can go work again.
Right.
You know, you think maybe they would have tried to do that sooner, but if everything was closed down, maybe you couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just nice to see just more business happening,
I know.
more buying and selling.
More buying and selling. Yeah.
Nice to see.
So we are going to take another break here. We're going to go into our final segment. We're going to get out of the coffee shop. We're going to go back to the studio while this next segment is going. Jeffrey Gleason is here with his latest installment of Tech Talk.
Love this guy.
Oh, who doesn't?
Love this guy.
Hi, everybody. This is Jeffrey Gleason, and this is Jeffrey Gleason Tech Talk. Welcome back to Jeffrey Gleason Tech Talk. I'm Jeffrey Gleason. Over the past year, we have heard the phrase stay safe countless times in the context of the pandemic, but rarely do we ever hear about this within the framework of staying safe online. But you may be saying to yourself, Jeffrey, what do you mean by staying safe online? How can I possibly hurt myself when I'm on the internet? And I say, no, silly. I don't mean in the physical sense. I'm referring to protecting your identity and your privacy. This may sound exciting, but it can be also very terrifying. So, here are 9 ways to keep yourself safe online. Number 1, good old-fashioned stranger danger. Remember the old saying, stranger danger? Just as you wouldn't talk to or share photos with or give out personal information to a stranger on the street, the same applies online. You never know who's really typing those messages, some creeper behind an alias, however convincing they may seem. You could be in a chat room or another online forum, discussion boards, and some creeper comes out and asks you for your name and address or solicits information from you. Always tell your mommy if messages or images you see or receive online make you feel uncomfortable. I remember once seeing a picture of someone's butt rash, and I was traumatized for a good long time. Number 2, check your privacy settings. It's easy to set up a social media account like Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, or Instagram, but make sure you take time to choose the highest privacy settings, or go back and check them right now. Google yourself and see what information and images come up in the results. This is what they call your digital footprint. What have you done online that you forgot about and it's still floating around out there? You may be surprised and find your profiles and photos aren't as hidden as you once thought. I once took a selfie of myself and I shared it with my Snapchat friends. And later, that image showed up when I Googled myself. I was like, wow, how did this happen? So be careful. Number 3, remember posting is permanent. Just remember that, the 2 P's, posting, permanent. Many people think that deleting something online means removing it from the internet forever. Sadly, that's not true. After posting something online, anybody can save, download, and reuse it. So think twice before posting something you may later regret. Remember, when you're applying for a job, employers often check social profiles when hiring. Posting something in the heat of the moment or inappropriate photo can make you or break your future. Just think about all the recent scandals around the uncovering of old, inappropriate tweets by a host of celebrities or political figures. Number 4, create strong passwords. When it comes to passwords, your birthday just won't cut it. Keeping your account safe online starts with choosing secure passwords with a mix of symbols, numbers, and capital letters. Those are the big letters. For example, I choose to use my full name and the last 2 digits of the year, and an exclamation point as my password for all of my bank accounts and social media accounts. Number 5, never reveal personal information. Anybody that knows you well will never need to ask for personal information like your address, your school name, or your social security number. Never give out this information and be very wary of who's asking for it. Always tell a teacher or your mommy. Number 6, be aware of fake news. Fake news has been on everybody's lips over the past few years. Normally, if something sounds too good to be true, it is. If you were wondering, understanding how to stay safe online doesn't stop with social media. It also is about picking up on spam emails. Never open links or attachments from an unknown sender. They could unleash a virus on your computer, and we're not talking the coronavirus. We're talking about those electronic viruses that wreak havoc on your system. And never pass on personal information such as your bank accounts when requested by email. Your bank or other trusted organizations will never ask you for this over email. One method they do this is a practice known as phishing. When I first heard this term, I thought, oh goody, I like the fish. But then someone told me it was spelled with a PH instead of an F, and I got really confused. So it's basically phishing for information, and sometimes it can lead to people revealing information that allows someone to get access to your financial or other personal information. Number 7, be respectful to others. It's easy to type something when you're hiding behind a screen. There are a lot of meanies out there who post nasty messages on my YouTube videos, but I'm sure they're really nice people if I met them face to face. Just remember, if you get the temptation to be mean to somebody online, just remember there's a real person at the other end of that screen. So be respectful and polite to others online. Despite all the interaction, social media can feel like a very lonely place to be. Take it from me, someone who feels lonely a lot. Number 8, remember our lives on social media aren't the full story. Recent studies have shown that social media can have a major impact on how young people feel about themselves and their lives. In a world of impeccable Instagram feeds and seemingly beautiful YouTubers, it's really important to remember that the lifestyles portrayed on social media are only part of the story. Despite how it looks from the outside, nobody's life is perfect, and follower counts don't define your meaningful offline relationships. Basically, most people are frauds, so keep this in mind when you start to be envious of someone's life they portray online. And finally, know how to block or report content. Take responsibility for making the internet a better place to be. This starts by knowing how to block and report inappropriate content or instances of cyberbullying. Oh, what is cyberbullying? Those are those meanies I told you about. All social media sites have a way to block meanies and bullies as well as to report them, so do your part in recognizing riffraff and act accordingly. And that is all I have to share with you on the subject of online safety. I feel safer already. I hope you do too. Until next time, I'm Jeffrey Gleason. Please check out my YouTube channel and subscribe to all my tech tutorials. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Chris and Dave Smorgasbord live over WDGC. No bones about it. And we invite your phone calls at 852-0404. No ticking calls will be accepted. And now, back to the fun and frolic of Chris and Dave for a Saturday night at your house, car, or small child.
Remember that one?
I don't know what to tell you. Jeffrey shouldn't be that secure because he just gave away all of his passwords, and I just hacked all of his bank accounts, and I've drained him of every cent that he has. So sorry, Jeffrey. I'll put it back, but I just be careful about giving out your passwords.
Yeah, well, now he's safe because there's nothing left to grab.
That's right.
Does he realize he did that? He's a good guy. So while we're on the tech talk, so I got one of these. Have you heard of these Apple AirTags?
No. What is that?
Here it is. Here it is right here.
An AirTag.
So it's a device that you can put on things. You could put it in your wallet. You could put it. They have like this keychain here, so I've got it on my keys.
Okay.
And it basically works like a tracker. So if you lose your keys, you can search for them using on Apple. It's called Find My. You can find people that are in your network. You can find your devices like your phone. In fact, if I call this up here on the screen here, here's the Find My, and it pulls up this map, and you can see your devices, and of course everything's at my house. But like, here's my earbuds, my iPad. But then you can now register your items. So like I registered theirs as my keys. So it's on this map. So I can do,
okay.
So if I lose my keys, I can go to here and I can go, hey Siri, find my keys.
Looking for Chris's keys. It's nearby. Pinging Chris's keys now.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it's like, oh, well, there they are. So it beeps. So the thing is, though, the way it works is like right now it makes sense because it's on a network. But like if this were left off in like I left this in the store somewhere,
right,
in a shopping cart, the way it works is other iPhones that go by in the area, it works off of Bluetooth. So other phones pick it up in the network and they transmit it to the cloud, I guess. And now I can actually see where it is. But if I lost this in the middle of the woods, it would not show up in the network because there's nothing for it to communicate with out there unless somebody happens to walk by on the path with an iPhone. But the weird
so someone has to be nearby with.
Has to be nearby. So now the question is all the security around this with, let's say I wanted to track an ex-girlfriend.
Well, yeah, I was thinking that. They'd be like a wife sticking it in her husband's wallet or something.
I put this, or I attach it to the bottom of her car or her backpack.
Yeah.
So, but they thought about this. If it ever becomes separated from me and it's not actually registered to my phone, but it's on somebody else, if there's, let's say I wanted to track you and you're on the train and I put this in your backpack and you're on the train and you go off into the city and I'm left behind, I can like watch you on my screen, like move, but then it'll eventually alert you. You'll get a note on your phone that says, hey, you've got a tracker that's attached to you that you don't own. So it'll alert you. But apparently if you have an Android phone or don't have an iPhone, you wouldn't get the alert. So I guess there's a hole in this that I could technically track somebody who doesn't have an iPhone.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's still kind of creepy anyway. I think people will turn this into, hey, it's like a cool idea, but then turn it into, the dark side will come out and people will use this for nefarious things.
Okay.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, thanks for showing me that. I never saw that.
I'll have to, maybe Jeffrey can do a test with doing a stalker test and see how it works on its next installment. Speaking of creepers, there's something that I found out about this past week. Apparently, Amazon is doing something called Amazon Sidewalk, which really concerned me. I'm not sure why. I just don't trust them anymore. But you have a week to opt out, which I've done. What they're trying to do is they're trying to create some sort of a wireless network that allows more. It takes, what is it exactly? Amazon announced in 2019 a service called Sidewalk. It's a new wireless network developed by Amazon. It uses Bluetooth low energy combined part with a part of Wi-Fi radio spectrum in the 900 megahertz range to connect devices beyond their normal range. So it's going to take all of the Amazon Echoes, all the devices, and put them on some like major network. And you can opt out of this to get your devices off the network. So I don't understand the concept of it and what it's going to do, but I didn't like the idea of my devices being bridges to like other devices. I guess it's supposed to be like for those doorbells, those Echo doorbells, that Ring doorbells with the video cameras. They're supposed to be connected to each other somehow. And I don't know. Something doesn't sit right with me with this.
Is it like a peer-to-peer kind of, instead of a, yeah, that's confusing.
I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what their end game is, but it doesn't sound right to me. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but I have a good reason to be now, given what's been happening. I just decided to start scaling back who has control over my information. It might be too late, but I could probably help prevent going forward what I share. So anyway, I opted out. I think the 8th of June was the last day you could opt out. So there's a little toggle on your device that says I want to opt out of Sidewalk. So I'm not participating.
So anybody who's has an Amazon account should do this.
If you've got an Amazon device.
Oh,
so
device.
It would be
okay.
like Echo. Yeah, the Alexa devices.
The Alexa, yeah. Okay.
Or the Ring doorbells.
I see.
All those are going to be like somehow all on one big network to extend the range of the Wi-Fi signal. So I don't know if that means people going by can tap into your Wi-Fi. It's almost like a worldwide Wi-Fi that they're building so that people, I don't know if this is true, but it sounds like a concept where, you know, right now you have to be in your house if you have Wi-Fi and you step outside, you could probably, mow the lawn and you're tapping into your own Wi-Fi, but you start driving off in your car, you don't have Wi-Fi anymore because you're driving by many networks. But if all the Wi-Fis are connected together, you could create this.
Oh, it wouldn't be a hotspot anymore, or you would be able to take it with you? Is that?
I just imagine this worldwide Wi-Fi that you're all of a sudden tapping into something that's always there. Right now, you're dependent on
by way of someone else's, like piggybacking, sort of.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, I'm starting to go into territory that I don't know too much about, so I'm going to stop. I could be totally off on this. So anyway, what else? I don't have anything else. Did you have anything else you wanted to throw out there?
No, it's just great to be back doing a show with you. Doing a show. We picked up where we left off. It's very natural for us, right? After almost 40 years of doing this. Yeah.
Off and on.
It is.
Well, after doing a couple of marathon shows with Jerry recently, an hour and 20 minutes is probably the sweet spot, I think, is a good amount to keep people's attention. So I think we'll just sign off now. And we've reached the end of another SmorgShow podcast with Chris and Dave this time. We'll be back again very soon. We've got a couple of more episodes for sure in the can or prepared prior to Allie's wedding. Allie's going to come out likely on the next episode. So looking forward to having her back here. And that's it. Thanks again, Dave.
All right.
We'll
Thanks for having me.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Get your own arts program, you fairy.